from LEX 18 News, with in-depth coverage of the issues that challenge Kentucky. This is State of the Commonwealth with your host, Conroy DeLuche.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to State of the Commonwealth. I'm Conroy DeLuche, and we are getting you ready to help you make your decision in the upcoming primary election by looking at topics shaping the future of our state. In the next few weeks, we are diving deep beyond the ballot box and previewing the election and focusing on some statewide issues. Last week, we discussed the future of medical marijuana and the hemp industry in Kentucky. This week, we're examining the opioid epidemic. In 2017, more than 70,000 Americans died of a drug overdose. 2/3 of those deaths were opioid involved. The Centers for Disease Control listed the states with the highest death rate due to drug overdose. West Virginia and Ohio rank 1 and 2, and those are two of Kentucky's border states. Kentucky has the 5th highest rate at 37 overdoses per 100,000 deaths. And the CDC says that's a statistical significant increase from 2016, and that's a trend that has continued this decade. This is a problem not just in our Commonwealth, but the entire country. And while Washington is taking action, Connor McHugh is here to show us how one Lexington man is trying to make change at the community level.
Alex Elswick's journey could be best described as cautionary tale turned inspirational story. And it's important to note, most people don't come back from the depths of addiction like he did, but that right there is the foundation of what he's trying to do now.
And that was kind of the very beginning, I guess.
Chances are you grew up with someone like Alex Elswick, a star on the Henry Clay baseball diamond, an even more promising student. At 18, he moved just 30 minutes away from home to Center College in Danville.
I don't think many people I grew up with would have said that's a kid who's going to get addicted.
But Alex did. The first red flag was an arrest for marijuana. Then 2 months later, a doctor prescribed him oxycodone for wisdom teeth surgery. When that pill bottle ran out, he found another and another.
And I was making good grades as I was getting more and more addicted, so I kind of believed the lie that meant that I didn't have a problem, when it quickly became apparent that I really had a problem.
Alex jokes he was the last person in Kentucky to know. After 2 years of relapses, an introduction to heroin and homelessness, he figured it out.
For me, rock bottom looked like sleeping under a bridge. I mean, I was literally sleeping under the Highway 35 overpass in downtown Dayton and shooting heroin and holding a cardboard sign. And a lot of times I tell people, even though I don't look like the stereotype today, when I was in the depths of addiction, I very much looked like a living, breathing stereotype of heroin addiction.
Eventually, Alex found his way out of the cycle. He credits the many programs that helped him, but most importantly, his privilege.
It's not like it was toughness or grit that got me sober. It's not like I'm in recovery because I'm strong. Those narratives just aren't real. I'm in recovery because I got access to all the help that I needed. And a lot of my friends don't have access to those things, and that's where Voices of Hope comes in.
Voices of Hope is how Alex is returning the favor these days. It's his nonprofit focused on support in recovery. On any night in the office off Old Vine, you'll find free programming such as AA meetings, sober social events, and Alex's favorite,
what happened there?
Telephone recovery support, a method of calling people in treatment and checking up on them.
All we're doing is keeping them engaged and trying to build a rapport with them and connect. And sometimes people tell us that the phone call they get from us is the most meaningful human connection they have all week.
Alex is also involved in the University of Kentucky's Collegiate Recovery Community. It's a sober living program for students with the goal of one day having an independent dorm. On top of that, he's often out in the community raising awareness and offering hope to people in recovery.
We're not hiding out from the community. We stand up and shout out and say, I'm in recovery and I'm proud of that. And I think that goes a long way towards changing the narrative around addiction and recovery.
It's a long way to changing that narrative, but Alex plans on doing his part. As someone in recovery himself, he knows how hard the journey is and where people and programs can help.
True Blue Bowl coverage, live from Charlotte, North Carolina. This is LEX 18 at the Belk Bowl.
Good evening and welcome into Bank of America Stadium in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. The stadium all lit up blue tonight, we like to think, for the Kentucky Wildcats. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Claire Crouch alongside Keith Farmer.
We are just 17 hours away from Kentucky taking on the Virginia Tech Hokies, and it's going to be an exciting game. I truly believe that as the Wildcats meet in the Belk Bowl, noon kickoff tomorrow.
That's right, and if you can't make it here to Charlotte, don't worry, you can watch the game on ESPN, and we of course will have you covered here with full day coverage right here on LEX 18. Now I know a lot of people out there have been wondering, what the heck is a Hokie? This has certainly been a topic on my mind all this week, and we are here to give you the official answer. Now, according to Virginia Tech's official sports website, the answer dates all the way back to 1896,
wow,
when this school officially changed their name. Apparently a member of the student body came up with the Hokie yell. So there you have it. A Hokie is officially defined as a devoted Virginia Tech fan. And that bird that you're going to see on the sidelines tomorrow, that is the Hokie bird. It's become the Hokie bird. It was originally a turkey because their original mascot was the Gobblers. But after that whole Hokie yell situation, they decided to adopt that, and they are the Hokie bird. So there you have it. Tell all your friends as you gather around the TV tomorrow that you know what a Hokie is.
I think I'm pretty good with the change, though. The Gobblers just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Hokie's cute. It's just confusing, but it gets people talking, so I guess that's good for them.
All right, as for the game, the Hokies, as we like to call them now, are 8-4 on the season. The Wildcats 7-5, and then Virginia Tech in the ACC finished with a 5-3 record. Kentucky in the SEC finished at 3-5. These teams don't have a lot of history, but they do have history that dates back all the way to 1926. The most recent game being played in Lexington, that was back in 1987.
I was a year old.
Oh, okay. At least you weren't born. Okay, good. Kentucky won that one by a score of 14-7, so it has been a while since these two have met. All right, as for Charlotte,
yes,
it's a hub of sports town. I mean, it's anything you want. You can get the thrill of NASCAR, you can get the basketball with 3 Wildcats on the Hornets team, or you can also get the Carolina Panthers, who finished up a disappointing season yesterday.
Yeah, not a great showing for them yesterday, but fun still to have an NFL team right here in your neighborhood. Plenty to do for the sports lover and the non-sports lover alike. Charlotte has been a great host city for us these past few days. We decided to just take a look around, soak up the city, and now we're going to introduce you to the beautiful city of Charlotte. Take a look. Welcome to the Queen City, home of the Panthers, the Hornets, and several ex-Cats. It's the most populated city in North Carolina, the site of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and a city rich in history.
Charlotte's awesome. It's been a beautiful city so far.
About a 6-hour drive from Lexington, fans here from Kentucky are keeping busy.
So far, good experience. Lots of fun things to do.
Just kind of been walking around the city, enjoying the sights and stuff.
And they're not alone. The city is booming, with an estimated 50 people moving here every single day.
Drove down yesterday, got here just in time to watch UK win the basketball game.
The city was founded in 1768, the site of the first gold rush, but Cats fans, they're staying focused on sports, saying the thing that will truly make this a successful trip is a win on New Year's Eve.
I want to see UK win Tuesday.
A win. A win over Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that would really put the icing on the cake, I think, for everybody who's made the trip here.
You're watching LEX 18 News, State of the Commonwealth.
When Black Jewel Mining declared bankruptcy in July, mines were closed across the country and hundreds of miners lost their jobs. But when workers in Harlan County heard the coal they mined was loaded onto a train, they took a stand, a 2-month protest that gained global attention. Now the harsh reality. In December 2018, the unemployment rate in Harlan County was just above 6%. In June, the month before the shutdown, 8.8%. In the last numbers released by the Kentucky Center for Statistics, the rate has risen to 13%, the highest in the state. This shutdown affected the entire community.
It's the reason we're here. It's the origin of our existence.
My dad and my brother both were miners.
My dad too. That's what we do here.
In the hills of eastern Kentucky, Harlan County was established 200 years ago.
This is truly one of the most beautiful places in America.
But it was the resource deep in those beautiful mountains that put this place on the map in the early 1900s, King Coal. Towns were built overnight. Homes, schools, hospitals were constructed, and thousands of men went to work underground.
Mining is our bloodline here, and it's how our families make a living. It's how they pay their bills. It's how they raise their kids.
As coal companies boomed and busted over the past half-century, some miners have left Harlan County, but many families have stayed. Will Stanton says that he has been through more mine shutdowns than he can count.
7 or 8, yeah. It's on average about once every 2 years anymore. I mean, that's just part of it.
This summer, Stanton and hundreds of other miners were laid off when the Black Jewel mine in Cumberland shut down. They had money taken from their bank accounts, money they had earned.
You know, when this first happened, we just basically lived day to day trying to figure out what's going on.
Once word spread that Black Jewel wanted to move coal that they had mined, a protest began on the tracks outside of Cumberland. One that began with a few miners, including Jeffrey Willig, and it quickly grew into a summer-long campout along train tracks.
I think we took a stand. It's definitely put a spotlight on bad coal operators.
A stand that united an already tight-knit community.
I mean, we come together, we're like a sisterhood now. They've always had their brotherhood, but now we have our sisterhood.
With the support of his wife, Will Stanton is now looking for his next underground job.
I mean, it's what we all know around here. It's what we all love. I know a lot of guys down here went to truck and going back to school and all that, but most of us, we're going to go back to mining. It's what we love.
For Paula Smith,
it's scary. It is. You just don't know.
The future seems more uncertain. Her husband is a veteran of the industry and, like Stanton, wants to return.
It's scary, but you have to take chances in life. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You just hope and pray for the best outcome with it.
King Coal was the reason thousands of families moved to the Tri-City area of Cumberland, Benham, and Lynch 100 years ago. The history is being restored. In Lynch, Portal 31 reopened as an underground mine museum, and the local government has worked with ministries.
We're going to see a lot more efforts like this
to restore old buildings, including Lamp House Cafe, that revolve around the mine.
This was the coffee shop in the 1950s. It served as the restaurant for the coal miners.
Just up the road in Benham, an old company store was transformed into Kentucky Coal Museum, dedicated to the heritage and history of an industry that brought hard workers around the world to Harlan County. Workers like Jeffrey Willig, who moved to the mountains from Baltimore 1 decade ago to dig coal.
Believe it or not, coal mining is, it's a good job, and when you're deep in a mountain like that, it's actually peaceful.
However, he now considers his mining career finished. He's going back to school and wants to learn fiber optics.
I'm just tired of, worrying if I'm going to have a job, depending on a president or depending on, if this operator is a good operator. It's sad because I know it has a very deep history here. I admire the history in coal mining. I admire it a lot.
It's a history that goes beyond the mines and beyond the museums, but in the people who built and stayed in this community, one of resilience and strength. Litigation involving Black Jewel is still ongoing in bankruptcy court. The miners still have not been paid. Moving on, Dan Mosley is serving his second term as judge executive of his beloved home county. When I spoke with him last week, Mosley said he's looking toward an economic future that complements coal.
We're focused on diversifying, truly diversifying, focusing on ways that we can employ people in various sectors through coal, the digital economy, manufacturing, healthcare, whatever, to be able to provide a sustainable job for people for years to come. And that will continue to be our focus as it has been for the last few years. It's been unfortunate, but this type of situation reinforces what we've been saying for the last several years. We have to continue to diversify so that things like this do not happen. We can't put all of our eggs in one basket.
And that one basket for more than 100 years has been coal. Where does coal fit in the next 200 years in Harlan County, or even just the next 5?
Yeah, well, and coal has been the victim of a variety of issues on the national and international level. Coal has, we've lost coal jobs in Harlan County since 1940. We had a population that was the second highest in the state in 1940, but that has continued to decline every census since 1940. Coal has been the victim of what I would describe as a competitive energy market on the national level, as well as some government overreach. It has, our vision here is coal and. It can be coal and tech. It can be coal and manufacturing. It can be coal and education, coal and healthcare. But it's coal and you fill in the blank what the and is. We're focused on what other jobs can we create over the course of time that will complement the coal industry. My dad got laid off when I was in the 4th grade from the mines, and I'll never forget him coming home and us knowing that either A, something really bad had happened, whether he got hurt or somebody else had got hurt or he got laid off or whatever. But I recall that day vividly. And I remember what challenges it presented our family financially when that occurred, and how people rallied around us to help make sure we had something to eat or Christmas presents or what have you. And he ended up deciding to go into another field to be able to provide for us. And he became an electrician, got certified. He'd worked as an electrician in the mines, but he ended up going on and doing lineman style work for contractors. And he still does that job to this day. People can learn to do other things. And the people in this community that are here to support them in whatever they do. And the way this community has rallied around these people to provide funds for light bills to be paid or food boxes or helping someone get their medicine that they couldn't afford any longer because their checking account was overdrawn has been remarkable. The stories, this could be a book, and it makes you grateful to be able to live in an area that cares so deeply for its people.
This is LEX 18 at the Belt Bowl.
Well, welcome back to LEX 18 at the Belt Bowl. Keith Farmer, Claire Crouch, joined by many more here in moments. But we have talked about the sport, football, players, fans. But what about something others consider a sport?
Yeah.
Tailgating.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. We know Kentucky fans take their tailgating seriously, and we know they travel, so we had to find out how they were going to do it all here in Charlotte. So we sent LEX 18's Mike Valenti out there for the tough assignment to check out all the action for us today. Let's go live to him now to see what he found out. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, guys, Big Blue Nation was everywhere this morning, all over the streets and parking lots. But a lot of fans we ran into haven't lived in the Commonwealth for years. They live here in Charlotte, but they made sure to party in Kentucky style. Just a few blocks from Bank of America Stadium, the food and drinks at this tailgate tasted like home.
I mean, bourbon has to be involved somewhere.
These fans bleed 2 shades of blue. They were here 2 days ago, tailgating ahead of the Carolina Panthers game.
So we warmed it up for the Kentucky game, but yeah. Got some bourbon out there, got some ale-8 straight from Kentucky, got some beer cheese, everything that's good from Kentucky. Obviously, we're waving the big blue flag.
Sure, it's not a tailgate outside Kroger Field, but in a city consumed by ACC rivalries, it's nice to hear some Kentucky cheers.
Do you usually see like ACC or any other program other than the SEC here wearing their stuff? So it's nice for a change to see a ton of blue in the street instead of, say, Clemson or State or, you know, a team that's not really meaningful to me. You walk by somebody and they're like, "Go Cats!" and you don't hear that a lot. So it's nice to, you know, have that camaraderie.
From camaraderie to competition. Who's the bigger sports fan?
I'm a bigger Virginia Tech football fan. He likes Kentucky basketball.
Yeah. But I think I watch sports more besides Virginia Tech.
Go Cats, baby! Woo! Nick Antique and Allison Carney couldn't agree on much this morning.
See you, Lex.
They both live in Charlotte, and they were excited to go to the bowl together. But they've saved the smack talk for today.
No, we've been dating for a year and a half, so we'll see how it goes. We haven't had a huge fight yet. It might be today.
That'll be a test.
So that couple had a friendly bet going on before the game. If Virginia Tech were to win, they were going to go to Blacksburg next fall to watch the Hokies take on Penn State. But a UK win meant that Allison had to wear her boyfriend's Wildcat gear. So it looks like she'll be decked out in blue the next couple days, and I can't say I feel too bad for her. Claire, Keith, back to you.
That's awesome. Who doesn't look good in blue either? So really, that wasn't a loss for her at all.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, those are little easy side bets.
Exactly.
You can do this.
All in good fun. All in good fun. All right, we've been talking about how nervous all the fans were in the stands, and understandably, even those of you watching at home probably felt some nerves, probably sitting on the edge of your seat. Well, imagine being the parent of one of those players sitting here in the stands.
Especially when Kylan decided to visit him during the fourth quarter of the game. Did they not shoo you away? Kylan joins us more on that.
No, Keith and Claire, if you can believe it, they did not shoo me away. They really could not have been nicer, those UK football parents. Now, today's game, much like the season, was an emotional roller coaster for players, coaches, but also players' parents, like we've been talking about. I don't know if there was anyone more nervous in this stadium in that fourth quarter than parents like Randall and Angela Young. Today actually is their 31st wedding anniversary, too. The Cardiac Cats had fans on the edge of their seats at Bank of America Stadium as they were down 6 in the final minutes. But emotions were especially high in the section with UK football parents.
Can they get it to the end zone?
I'm nervous every play, but at some point you just got to give it up to God and say you've got to protect him, and he does.
Starting tackle Landon Young's parents, Randall and Angela, are lifelong UK fans. When the team scored that touchdown in the go-ahead extra point, can only be described as pure bliss.
I'm just super excited, and couldn't be a better anniversary present for us. So.
Get teary-eyed.
The Youngs say this win means the world.
It's just amazing how they can pull out of themselves and figure out what they've got to do to get it done, and they did.
They love what Coach Stoops is doing with this football program, and they tell me they couldn't be prouder of their son.
After sitting out last year and not getting to participate in it, it broke his heart. But then to get to do this, it's been all worth it. It's a great year. Great year. Can't think of a better way to end the year.
The Youngs are savoring every moment of watching their son represent the school and the state that they love. In a bowl game they surely won't soon forget.
Far away. We're so happy.
It was hard not to get emotional just seeing them and the joy that they felt. Now, as for Landon Young's future at UK, he actually just graduated in the December ceremony at University of Kentucky, but he has another season left on the football field because he had to redshirt last year due to a knee injury. The Youngs say he hasn't decided whether or not he will come back for another season of football, but they say they support him. Either way, truly, you guys, just the nicest people in the world. Back to you.